What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, The Real Ish. All right, so this video right here, I initially was going to talk about two movies that were like movies within a movie, Scream 3 and A Nightmare on Elm Street, A New Nightmare. All right, but then I'm just gonna really touch on the plot holes of both movies and go in a little detailed in why they just didn't work, in my opinion. All right, so let's get straight into this video. All right, so we're gonna talk about Scream 3 first. So Scream 3 is, I won't say my least favorite in the franchise itself, but because it's far worse ones, such as Scream 5 and 6 per se. Even Scream 4, I would probably watch over Scream 3, but there are other ones that's pretty bad. But I just feel like Scream 3 doesn't make sense, and especially when it boils down to the killer. The killer is Sydney's half brother, whatever. And I really don't get the whole movie in a movie thing. All right, so it says Scream 3 often receives criticism for a convoluted plot holes, and less scary tone compared to the previous films, which some attribute to script changes and shift in focus. It says, for example, viewers question how the killer could have such detailed knowledge of Sydney's life and stalk her and her friends so easily, especially considering the killer's supposed motive and identity were not originally planned for the first movies. Other common critiques include weak character development, awkward dialogue, and an unsatisfying killer reveal. So it says it has an unrealistic timeline and coordination. The film shows the killer calling the police station from a phone that Dewey has. Detective Kincaid had just used the phone to ask for a number. This raises questions about how Ghostface knew where Sydney's file was, as Dewey had already removed it. Several scenes depict the killer appearing and disappearing in ways that seem impossible, such as vanishing after being seen rolling under a car on a fenced street, or orchestrating events like a gas explosion at Jennifer's house. All right, so some don't like the killer's motive and identity. Me, for one, is one person that hates it. Some viewers feel the killer's motive and identity are unsatisfying, particularly because Roman Bridger wasn't mentioned in the prior films. He was nowhere to be found. No one knew about this person. It says his connection to Sydney's mother's past feels like an unnecessary element for many. I don't understand. He's never mentioned, so how all of a sudden this person is a relative of hers that we never knew about, never mentioned, I don't know. It says other factors are a shift in tone. The film's tone is lighter, convoluted plot, I already mentioned that, weak characterization, unsatisfying ending. So I don't know. And then we have somebody on Reddit. This is 9 months ago on Reddit. They said, why is Scream so widely disliked compared to other films in the franchise? Because it sucks. But no. They said, I noticed a lot of criticism towards Scream 3, with many people ranking it as the least favorite of all the films. While I agree that the original movie and Scream 2 are infinitely better, I still feel the Scream 3 is a solid enough film in the franchise. To me, it's definitely better than some of the more recent films. So I'm intrigued. So someone says, I think it's because the movie takes a more comedic tone. I don't necessarily think it's it. I just think it just sucks, period. I don't know. Some people say it's funny. Somebody say, come on, dude, it's criticized because of it's a bad story and terrible Ghostface. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Somebody said it feels a bit Scooby-Doo and I don't care for Roman. That said, it's still more entertaining than subsequent entries. That's just one thing. And I don't really know, like I said, why they did the movie in a movie. I looked it up. I typed in, why was Scream 3 a movie within a movie? Scream 3 was a movie within a movie because a new Ghostface killer was murdering the cast and crew of Stab 3. The fictional film based on the events of the previous Scream movies. This makes no sense. This allowed the film to satirize Hollywood and production of the horror films, which is why the meta concept of the film about the making of a movie about a movie worked so well. It did. The meta narrative also allowed the plot to focus on troubled production of Stab 3, which mirrored a real life problems faced by filmmakers. I mean, whatever. I don't know. I just don't like it. I think it's corny. But that's my opinion, and my opinion's not wrong. It's just my opinion. I feel like it was corny to do a movie within a movie. That's what I think. Don't argue with me. Argue with your mother. Alright, so someone said in Scream 3, what was the movie Stab 3 based on? From the looks of Stab 3, movie said it was covering the events of the first movie, but was also going to contain Maureen's death. Was Roman purposely going back to show how his mother died? This is the real movie I like to be made, a prequel to Scream, to show everything that happened prior to Scream that led to the events in Scream. Somebody said it's a little unclear what it was supposed to be about. It was called Return to Woodsboro, but we know Cotton was supposed to die first and then Candy second. It seems like it would have had a flashback to Maureen's death for some reason, though, maybe in relation to why Cotton dies in an opener. And another thing, I think this was Scream 3, they had like Sydney seeing her mom as a ghost, I guess, or whatever, but it's just like, it just didn't fit to me because we've never really seen that before. Somebody said Sydney seeing her Maureen's ghost in the third film is an overhated scene and it's a great portrayal of Sydney's trauma. But why did it take for a third film to be made for her to see her mother? Like, we've never seen it before. At least I don't recall, so whatever. Somebody said, I never quite understood it. They said they were confused about this. Was Maureen Prescott ghost just a hallucination by Sydney, or was this actually Roman effing with her head? I never quite understood it, because wasn't there one scene during the movie where Sydney sees her mom's ghost at the window? Yep, that's what I was talking about. And if I remember correctly, the window shattered. So how did that happen? It was just a hallucination. Also, Maureen Prescott's voice sounds awfully creepy, almost like it would be from the voice generator that Ghostface was using during the movie. Oh, they said, so confirmation, Maureen's voice was confirmed to be Ghostface using the voice generator. And that's another thing. I don't understand how Ghostface can use a voice generator to sound like anyone. Like, come on, like, is that really possible? Maybe in this day and age, yeah, because you have all this AI stuff, but we're talking about back then. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong again. I don't know, but that's something that always confused me. How can you sound like anybody? And also, why did we wait till Scream 3 to see her mother? All right, so let's jump into one more thing. Well, I won't say one more, but something else I want to know. All right, so I'm trying to figure out how was that Roman Sydney's half brother. I don't know. It seemed like they just pulled this out of where. In Scream 3, Roman is Sydney's half brother, a product of their mother Maureen Prescott's sexual assault when she was a young actress in Hollywood. Okay, so that went over my head. I don't even remember it being that. Roman became the Ghostface killer in Scream 3 and the mastermind behind the original Woodsboro murders because he felt abandoned by Maureen, who rejected him when he found her as an adult. So my question is, what does that have to do with Sydney? Why come after her? She has nothing to do with that. I don't know. Jealousy, maybe, whatever. I don't know. So it says, in the original, Roman revealed to Billy Loomis that Sydney's father had an affair with Maureen, which provided the motive for Billy to start killing the spring. Who said this? We never saw this, so you can't just say this. Like, I'm so confused. I don't know. I think a lot of people are misinformed or confused about his role, him being Roman, her brother. I don't know, I just didn't like it. I didn't like the fact that they said she had a brother. I don't know, I really don't. I don't know, but that's some of the things I wanted to mention about this movie in particular, and the whole movie in a movie thing. I just don't get it. Yeah, so yeah, the whole movie is just, I don't know, and they keep playing it on TV. They played it for Halloween recently, this past couple months ago, and I rewatched it, and it's just not, I'm not impressed for several reasons. I'm just not impressed. It's just like, they could have, I don't know, like I said in another video, it should have just been Scream 1, and that's it. All right, we're gonna jump into this next movie. I love A Nightmare on Elm Street, but one of my least favorite of the franchise is New Nightmare. I don't really like it, and it's not something that I would like to see. I mean, the description for it is just, it already is just kind of, let's just listen real quick. Reality and fantasy meet in unsettling ways in this installment of the long-running horror series, which finds director Wes Craven and actors Heather Langenkamp and Robert Englund all portraying themselves. What? As Heather considers making another film with Craven, her son Dylan falls under the spell of the iconic disfigured villain Freddy Krueger. Eventually, she must confront Freddy's demonic spirit to save the soul of Dylan. I don't understand. I get what they're trying to do. I don't know. I get it, but I don't. Someone on Reddit said, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, worst film in the franchise, or am I missing something? Out of all the films in the Nightmare franchise, I hate this film. The shallow acting, the lazy production, and the absence of Robert Englund. He's barely in it. There seems to be a lot of people who regard this movie as some kind of horror masterpiece, and after 30 years, I'm still not getting what everyone else is talking about. What is it about Wes Craven's New Nightmare am I missing? Yeah, I agree with this person. Like, what is the point of this? This is not a great movie to me. I just don't, like I said about the Scream movie, it's just corny. A movie in a movie, I don't like it. How are they playing themselves? Like, all right. Let's check out some plot holes from New Nightmare. It says the plot holes stem from its meta commentary, blurring the lines between a fictional movie and reality. The most significant issues include how Freddy can now enter the real world, which is something he's never been able to do, by the way. He's not supposed to be able to do that. But anyway, how he can now enter the real world, the inconsistencies of his powers when he's not in a dream, and how the film uses a real-life stalking incident to fuel its plot, potentially causing confusion about the nature of the horror being portrayed. Plot inconsistencies. Freddy entering the real world. It says he is shown attacking and killing people in the real world, which contradicts the established rule that he can only kill in dreams. Right. As a result of the meta-narrative, Freddy's actions don't always make sense within the new context. For example, it's questioned why he doesn't use his full potential in the real world when he is now able to enter it. So, what's the point? Like, wouldn't he use all of his potential? There's a lack of a clear protagonist. The movie creates a lack of clear protagonists as it shifts focus from fictional characters to actors playing them. Confusing. All right, it's confusing for no reason. I just think Wes Craven ran out of ideas, honestly. It says the film blurs the lines between fictional, nightmare universe, and reality. I already said that. I don't even understand the point of it, and I don't even think I have to go on and on and on with this one right here. It kind of just speaks for itself. You can type in this yourself if you want to look up more, plot holes or whatever, but I think I'm done. I just wanted to bring awareness to it. Yeah, so I'm not gonna drag this out any longer. I'm just not gonna do it because this is one of the ones that I could go without seeing. I could go the rest of my life without seeing a New Nightmare, and that's me as a huge fan of the movies, but that's my honest opinion, and it doesn't mean I'm not a fan of Robert Englund stuff. I just don't care to, no, I just don't. But yeah, I'm not gonna drag this out. I just wanted to share my thoughts on it, my opinions. Share your thoughts and opinions. Remember, if it's not respectful, if it's not, a decent comment, you don't have to agree with me, but just don't be on here saying crazy things because you will be blocked, all right? But I would like to know what people think. So like this video, share it, comment your thoughts, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will see you guys in the next video. God bless you.